Hey there, dirt bike people. I'm Chuck from TrueTech, and today, by popular demand, I'm going to give you guys a shop tour. My shop is not very big. You can see all of it right here, but there's a lot going on in here. Let's get right to it. That is the door that goes outside. That is the door that goes into my basement. One of these days, I'll get to replacing that one. It's way overdue. When I bought my house, this door wasn't here. This shop was a concrete box. So everything that you see in here, I've done, and it's still ongoing. Obviously, there's always a project to do in here. My shop is a real shop. I work in here every day, including today. I'm working on this 300 XCW. Sometimes it's cleaner, sometimes it's messier. Today, this is how it is. I did not clean up just for you guys, so this is the actual state of my shop, the way that it is today. So right next to my entry door, this shelf has to do with things that are going out the door. That's why I have it right by the door. So this is my medical equipment. I'm a rural first responder in my area, so I have 3 oxygen tanks under there. That's my go bag, that's an AED, first aid kit, and that is a 22 pellet gun. We have a lot of squirrels in the area, and if I don't keep them under control, they dig into my attic. This is going to a customer. It's always good to have a machete close by. This is my radio that I use for first responder stuff. This is a swing arm bearing kit that's going to a customer. This is to fix the leaky roof on my trailer. This is my license. You can see it only goes to 2022 because the College of Trades is so useless that they can't issue stickers. So it's up to date, but I don't have stickers. I was thinking about getting stickers made so that I have all the boxes filled. Very annoying. That's my certificate of apprenticeship. It lets you know that I'm legit, as if that paper really means anything. I am proud of that paper. I did, I put in my 5,000 hours. I challenged all the exams. There was 3 of them. If you're not from Canada, that little red seal means that I got more than 90% of my exams. Whoop-de-doo. I am proud of that. I am a certified motorcycle technician in Canada. I'm also proud of these things. These are the only 3 medals that I have. These are Corduroy Enduro finisher medals. I raced it twice and finished both times, and then the 3rd year I was a marshal, so I also finished. The 3rd year I did all the expert and pro sections, and if I was going to do it again, I think I would probably enter the expert class, even though I'm not an expert, I'm an intermediate. Up here I have a bunch of fasteners. I have a bunch of clamps and things. Those come in handy all the time. This is my shit to get list. You guys probably recognize this if you've seen any of my other stuff. This is my sticker bin. If anybody comes in and they want some stickers, I have a lot of stickers and you can have them. This is my pressure washer, which is not working at the moment. You can see there's no pump underneath there. I'm working on fixing that. That is a prop rim and tire bead that I use for teaching people how to change tires. If you're interested in that, I am coming out with a course in the next short little while. It's almost finished. If you're interested in taking my tire change course, message me. I have details. Once it comes out, I'll put a link in the description. Up here, I have my battery charging station. This one's for my Snap-on stuff. I have Milwaukee stuff. Most of my stuff is DeWalt. I have a whole bunch of those batteries. This is my lithium charger. This is my trickle charger for lead acid. And the times that I have bikes in that have keys, this is where my keys go. That's a spare air filter for my bike. That's a plug in there that goes down into this cabinet. In this cabinet, I have my ultrasonic cleaner right there, and this opens up, and underneath I have my air compressor. You can see it's all insulated here. I have 2 inches of insulating foam because my shop is small, and both the ultrasonic cleaner and the air compressor are loud, which I hate. So that's my noisy things cabinet. All around the top of my shop, I have those shelves because that would be wasted space, and I can't afford wasted space. So up there, that's the stuff that I use for my ultrasonic cleaner right now. That's lacquer thinner, oil for yard equipment, brake clean. I buy brake clean in these big jugs, although that's changing because it is now illegal to have useful chemicals in Canada. So I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. I buy oil in 20-liter pails and I decant them into containers like that so they're easier to use. These are mostly valve shims and jets. And then I have a bunch of miscellaneous chemicals and stuff, tools in boxes that I don't use very often. Got my torch up there, all that type of stuff. I got bags, gloves, random stuff up there. Up there is fork seals, all stuff that I don't use super often. Here's my main bench. This stuff is Imperial. I almost never use that. This is my little bead breaker tool. I have a little lip on the back of my bench like that so that I can store chemicals off of my bench. When I start and finish a job, many of you will know, my bench is clean. That lip allows me to store stuff behind it and still have a clean bench when I'm working. This area is pretty straightforward. I made this years ago. I really like that for screwdriver storage. I also made this years ago. I also really like it for pliers and things. These are just some parts that I'm processing. This is the pump for my pressure washer, which I'm not going to fix. I'm just replacing the pump because it's only 120 bucks. My toolbox, all of the stuff that I use on a very regular basis, it's up top here. I hate opening drawers. Stuff that's in drawers is stuff that I don't use very often, or less often anyway. The stuff that I use the most is on top, and the stuff that I use the least is in drawers, and it goes down to the bottom. So I have like random stuff. I have rope, which I need kind of regularly. My chain breaker tool, which I hardly ever use. I have some air tools down here. I'm probably just gonna get rid of those. You know, this is stuff that I need every now and again. It comes in handy. I don't want to throw it out, but I hardly ever use it, so it stays in the bottom of my toolbox. Over here, I got my drills. Oh, up here, so I have an air line that runs all the way around my shop. Yeah, I know. You're not supposed to use ABS or PVC or whatever, but it works fine, and it's rated for, I don't know, 300 PSI or something. Works great. Tire changing stuff is all over here. Now, I am out of room, and that is going to be solved pretty soon, but that's why this is sitting on the bench. This is all of my tap and die type of stuff, as well as some fun stickers. This is fasteners. So like I got M5 on the top, M6, M8, M10, and then down here is more random stuff like battery, fasteners. I have exhaust gaskets in here. So random shims that I haven't organized yet, pins and stuff, valve nuts, springs, snap rings, all that type of stuff. That's all in there. Over here, I have tape and stuff. That's the oil filter wrench from my Toyota. That is a trophy for the Mexican 500 that we used to run back when I lived in Ontario. That was a trophy. Behind that is my breaker box for my panel. This rock is super cool. I'm not a nostalgic individual, but I was at Red Bull Outliers and I happened to be on top of the mound where the finish was, and I picked up this rock and there was markers everywhere. So like, I think that's Tristan Hart. Graham Jarvis is on here, Roman, Manny is on here. There's a whole bunch of guys that are on here. This is a cool rock. Safety, look at that. Over here, this bench is where I do grinding and such. If I'm going to grind in my shop and I avoid it like the plague, it's gonna be happening over here. So you'll have, you know, I have hammers and brushes and Healy coils and grinding stuff over here. If I'm gonna make a mess, I try to keep it over here. This is an engine kit that is going out to a customer. These shocks are getting rebuilt. They're from a Skidoo. These springs I got to give to a customer. They're for a snow bike application. This is my Fordham tool over here. The foot pedal is down on the ground there. Underneath the benches, I have those totes, and I store parts for jobs that are ongoing, like RX chassis. You know, those are chassis parts for a 250 RX that I'm working on. Down here, this is my valve grinding box. It's a Sioux valve grinding kit. In this box, I have stuff that pertains to grinding and cutting and fixing threads and stuff. So like thread repair stuff, some more. This is a little air die grinder, a file card, some files. This is a letter and number stamp kit, stuff like that. A little hone. So like extension drill bits, that's for getting chain adjuster bolts out of swing arms. This is a custom puller that I made years ago for a KX250 for rebuilding the bottom ends. There's a case splitter tool right there. There I have a bunch of different types of Teflon tape, and there's solder there. Here I have a bunch of seals. So every mechanic has a tin full of seals and O-rings and stuff in a back corner of their shop, and you can never find it. I was sick of that, so I organized them by size. Now, I use these all the time. Can't even tell you. Almost every day. I go grab an O-ring or a seal or something. Almost every engine kit comes with spares because they fit multiple years, so I always organize them and store them at the end of every job. Over here, suspension area. Like I say, this area here is a bit of a mess. Every suspension guy knows the shims pile up, so I'm way overdue for organizing them. These are my organized suspension shims for revalving, which I don't do very often. I try to avoid because there are many other people that are much better at it than I am. Suspension tools, seal bullets. These are all little custom tools and stuff. Most of them I've made myself. There's all my fork seal drivers. There's my suspension vise. So when I built this bench, I put that piece of PVC there. That little thing there, that's so fork tubes can stand against there, and then they drain into that. It goes that way. And then there's another piece of PVC down there. And under here it drips out of there and drips into my paper bin. Actually, there was originally a bucket there, but now it just drips into my paper bin and I burn it. Here I have my spring rate tester, and then this is my office. Step into my office, folks. My receipts and invoices and stuff, they go behind my computer, and then when they pile up like they are right now, then I enter them all into QuickBooks. These are my supplier catalogs. Up here, I have boxes with stuff, so like fittings, like airline stuff, batteries, bearings, electrical bits, gaskets, a whole bunch of random stuff. They're all organized into bins like that. Here's my printer. This is my secondary toolbox. So over there is my main bench. So that's like one workstation there. And then I have another workstation over here, and that toolbox goes for this workstation. So when I have somebody else working in here, or when this bench is tied up, I can work at this workstation, and that toolbox is organized the same as my other one. And then I have, T-handles over there, and I can draw from this area when I'm working on this bench, or when there's two people working in here. We don't have to be using each other's tools. This is my crank building bench. I built this bench specifically for that. It's super heavy duty. This is my truing jig, my V-blocks. And then I have my chiropractor hammer there. Bearings, I use those bearings. I've polished the inside so they slip over crankshafts so that I can use those for truing in the lathe over there. My little press, it's just a 10-ton, does everything I need it to do. This is specifically for truing cranks. I put the crank on there, and then I whack it with my chiropractor hammer. This is all stuff that I use regularly for building cranks, little shims and stuff like that. My drill bits, which I primarily use in my lathe, or over there, which is kind of a pain. One day I'll have two sets of drill bits. This is all just lathe stuff, and then I also have some inventory back here. So I keep carburetor float bowl gaskets back here. Those are some carb kits. Here I have stuff like countershaft seal kits, linkage bearing kits for common bikes that I work on, basically KTMs. Got some hour meters and some sprockets and chains are up there. A bunch of gasket kits, pistons, oil filters, batteries, chain guards, spark plugs, tubes, all that type of stuff up there. Here's my milling machine. Like I say, I use this stuff pretty much every day, so, I didn't clean it this morning before I did this video. Down here, I have a bunch of material. Down here also, that's short ends. It's mostly aluminum in there. Oil storage and coolant down there. There's also a little sub down there. I keep my vacuum cleaner plugged in right there so I can clean up my lathe quickly. It's my little welder, my busted helmet, thanks to my kids. Those of you that are familiar with machining, you'll see all the stuff here that should be here. That all gets stored there. There's my grinder right there. As I said, I don't have a whole lot of space, so it's lathe, grinder, milling machine. I know that those really shouldn't go together, but that's the space that I got. Got brake pads over here. That is 360 degrees right there. Because my shop is so tiny, it's 15 by 24. I have 15 to 20 bikes in here going all of the time, and that keeps me busy. That's kind of the rotation that I need. So every night I push all the bikes in. I can fit 20 bikes in here. And every morning I push all the bikes out, but that is going to change soon. Once I have a bigger shop, I'm actually going to replicate this space right here. There's going to be a few little changes. It's going to be a little bit wider, but I've built this setup now in a couple of different configurations, but this is kind of what I've come to after doing it probably more than 4 or 5 times. It's extremely efficient. So there you go, that's about it. If you guys have questions, throw them in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer anything that you guys are curious about. If you like this video, I'd appreciate if you let the algorithm know. If you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you want to see what I'm doing on a more day-to-day basis, you can find that content on Instagram. Thanks a lot for watching.